Okay, these notes are covering converting a quadratic from vertex form to standard form. And when you're converting a quadratic from vertex form to standard form, you're going to follow these 3 steps every single time. So our first step is to FOIL. Now, if I have a quadratic such as f of x equals x minus 4 squared plus 9, what you're in fact FOILing is this x minus 4 squared, because x minus 4 squared is really x minus 4 times x minus 4, and then you'll be adding 9 later. So we need to FOIL x minus 4 times x minus 4. So you can FOIL it together, do the box method, however you need to multiply it. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. And then negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. So that's x squared minus 8x plus 16. Your next step is if a is anything other than 1, then you have to distribute a, which right here our a is a positive 1. So we really get to skip that step because right here in front of the parentheses, that's like a positive 1 right there. So we don't need to distribute a here. So our last step is we combine our like terms. So we need to combine together the 16 and the 19. So our quadratic in standard form is f of x equals x squared minus 8x plus 25. If I were to graph that quadratic and graph the vertex form, it would graph the exact same quadratic. It would be the exact same parabola. Also, vertex form, if your quadratic is written in vertex form, you can pull the vertex very quick and easy. So your vertex is a point. It's that minimum point if your graph is opening upward, or a maximum point if your graph is opening downward. You always go inside of the parentheses, and you're going to take the opposite of that number. So it's a negative 4 in the parentheses, so it's going to be a positive 4. And that's going to be the x of our vertex. And then the y of our vertex is that number that's just tagging along at the end, and you don't change the sign of it. So our vertex is 4, 9. So always take the opposite of inside the parentheses, and that's the x of the vertex, and then the number hanging on at the end is the y of the vertex. Okay, another example. I have f of x equals 3 times x minus 2 squared plus 5. Real quick, and I can identify the vertex. So our vertex here is, I go inside the parentheses, so the opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. And then the y is tagged along. So my vertex is 2, 5. Now, when I'm converting to standard form, my first step is to FOIL. So I'm going to multiply together x minus 2 times x minus 2.
Will Bank, Macy, Will Bank, oh, Harley, Will Bank.
Okay, so I'm going to FOIL these together. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And then negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4. So that's x squared minus 4x plus 4. And with that, I'm going to be multiplying it by 3 because that's what a is. And then I'll be adding 5. So my next step is I'm going to multiply it by 3. So I do 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times negative 4x is negative 12x. 3 times positive 4 is positive 12. And I don't distribute the 3 to the 5. The 5 isn't part of the parentheses, so it's just going to be plus 5 at the end. So we get that our new quadratic in standard form is f of x equals 3x squared minus 12x plus 17. So if I were to graph this quadratic and the vertex form quadratic, it's the exact same parabola. And the last example over this is f of x equals negative 2 times x plus 6 squared minus 1. Real quick, we can identify the vertex. So the opposite of inside the parentheses, so it's going to be negative 6, and then the number hanging out at the end is negative 1. So our vertex is at negative 6, negative 1. Now to convert it to standard form, my first step is to FOIL. So I'm going to multiply x plus 6 times x plus 6. So So let's see here. I get x times x is x squared. X times 6 is 6x. 6 times x is 6x. And then 6 times 6 is 36. So that is x squared plus 12x plus 36. And to that, I'm going to be multiplying it by -2 and subtracting 1. So now I need to multiply out my -2. So -2 times x squared is -2x squared. -2 times 12x is -24x. And -2 times 36 is -72, and then -1. So my quadratic in standard form is f of x equals -2x squared minus 24x minus 73. And that is it for converting a quadratic from vertex form to standard form.